eventually we like rearranged the furniture and stuff like that. And we were able to get like a small tree, like a super small tree. Like I'm talking like a 2 to 3 footer, like not even like our little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. But the first time we got a real tree, I was kind of wondering like how Scraps was going to react to it. And just as I had suspected, he took a walk over, lifted a leg, and we were like, Scrappy, no! Jingle dogs, jingle puppy dogs. It's time for a holiday episode of Let's Boop Snoots.
Happy holidays. I don't know why I said that with an accent. Let's boop some snoots.
I'm Heidi.
And I'm Vero, and we're both from Ottawa, Ontario.
And today we decided to do a holiday episode of Let's Boop Snoots.
Ooh. So we're going to talk about food, visitors, children, decorations, tree, all sorts of stuff. How to handle all of that when you have a pet.
And keeping your doggos in mind.
Yes, and keeping them safe.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big one during the holidays. I can remember the first Christmas that we had Becky. I'm just going to open up with a story here as a perfect example of all the things that we just mentioned. But the very first Christmas that we had Becky, our family tradition at that time was to go on Christmas Eve out to our in-laws' house, and where there's tons of gifts, tons of food, tons of everything. And anyways, we opened up our gifts, and we had, both my husband and I had these like huge Toblerone chocolate bars, like big ones, not like the tiny ones, and not like
Like the
the
airport ones?
like not like the airport one, but like it was like a substantial like Toblerone bar, like a like easily like a 1 footer like Toblerone bar.
Hmm.
And we went downstairs to go get our stuff together and couldn't find our Toblerone bar, and then found the evidence that our Toblerone bar had been eaten by Becky in the other room. And we were like, oh my goodness, what do we do? Like, do we take her to the vet? Do we like, what are we going to? And anyways, she was totally fine because it was like a milk chocolate one. We mentioned this on episodes
Yeah.
past, the poisonous stuff for them and whatnot. And she did have also another term we use in our family. She had the brown laser. She had some pretty volatile diarrhea, but that was the extent of it. But then the next day she came in and then she ate my husband's Toblerone bar.
She
So
just couldn't get enough.
she got them both. She's definitely a girl who loves her sweets, that Becky. But
And chocolate's a big one during the holidays.
oh, big time. It's on like, people put out Christmas. I put out Christmas chocolates in little dishes, like on the coffee table. People put out trays of cookies and chocolates that they make. They put out boxes of chocolates. Forget to put the cover back on. Even if you do, it doesn't matter. Your dog's going to eat it anyways. So be careful with the food. Be careful with the food.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of food around the holidays. There's a lot of food that you normally don't have in your house. There's a lot of
Yeah.
food left out. There's like, you're preparing different foods. You're doing a lot of cooking. You're busy. You're not, the last
Paying
thing on your mind.
attention.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
last thing on your mind is your dog. So, this is where like, people find like their dog on the table eating the turkey. And I've heard
A
all
lot of
sorts of
harmful
nightmare.
stuff too.
Yeah,
Like
a
the
lot of,
turkey bones.
yes.
Cooked turkey bones, not very good. Not very good for your dog. They can splinter and cause issues. So yeah, food's a big one. Also, guests who feed your dog food.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yes, so maybe have a chat with your guest beforehand, or just keep an eye out and make sure that you keep an eye out. Those sneaky guests.
Yes. Absolutely. My dad's one of
Mhm.
the worst. Like it's so funny because like my dogs, that like again, cooking is one of those things where you're very focused. You're sort of doing things in a timely manner, which requires all your focus and stuff, and you sort of aren't always paying attention to your dog. So I tend to not have my dogs in the kitchen while I'm cooking. But they, again, when you get focused and you're not paying attention to them, of course, they're always enticed to come into the kitchen, especially if
They
you like drop
know.
stuff on the floor. And they, yeah, exactly. They know. They're like, she's not paying attention right now. And I can get away with eating all this stuff that she dropped on the floor and stuff. So, anyways, my dogs are not normally allowed in the kitchen. They know that. I say, my word is scram. I'm like, scram. And like, they know to get their
Get out.
boop, get the boop out of the kitchen.
Get their toot.
Yep. And but when my family, my extended family comes over on Christmas Eve, my family celebrates Christmas Eve, my husband's family celebrates Christmas Day, and so we have a full house here on Christmas Eve, and my dad and I are generally in the kitchen doing the cooking together. And my dad, as you've heard time and time again on the show, has no boundaries or rules with the dogs. So while I'm trying to yell scram at them, he's throwing them like pieces of sausage and fried potatoes and
Yum.
stuff from our Christmas Eve traditional meal. So there's that too, right? So there is. And then plus my mom is there too. My mom, who gives them treats for doing absolutely like nothing at all. So yes, Christmas is truly Christmas for the dogs around here
Other
anyway.
things they can eat, decorations. So all these things that they're not used to seeing that are put out. Christmas lights, that's a big one. You don't want your poochie to bite into a Christmas light.
Mm-hmm.
They can electrocute themselves. And yeah, just things they're not used to seeing, especially if they're all put out all at once.
Yeah.
Like your dogs love routine and they get used to their environment. And then all of a sudden, I know, I remember the dog at my parents. Well, even Wiggum, like anytime I changed something like with the furniture, it was
Mm-hmm.
like depressed mode. It's like, why? Why is that there?
So would he react to like a Christmas tree then?
Wiggum, not really. If there was something that looked like a stuffy in the
Mm-hmm.
Christmas tree,
Yeah.
he would like try to like gently pull it off. Like it was very funny. He would like just grab it with his front teeth, like
Yeah.
very gently, and then just like try to pull it off.
Like sneakily, or would he do it like right on front of your face? Like
Oh, both. He also really
goof.
liked, and this has nothing to do with Christmas, but you know when you build furniture and there's screws and then you put like caps
Yes.
on the screws so you
Mm-hmm.
don't see them? He loved picking those off.
Oh,
And
yes, I
he was
remember
like
you
very,
telling me
very
that.
gentle. Like he was like, I can't show you through the
But like
podcast,
just
but
like
with
gently
his
with his
front
little
teeth,
teeth. Yeah.
yeah, like
Ngang.
yoink.
Little. That's so
Yep.
funny. I remember you telling me that before. The first house that we were in when we had scraps, we did not have room for a Christmas tree. And eventually we like rearranged the furniture and stuff like that. And we were able to get like a small tree, like a super small tree. Like I'm talking like a 2 to 3 footer, like not even like our little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. But the first time we got a real tree, I was kind of wondering like how Scraps was going to react to it. And just as I had suspected, he took a walk over, lifted a leg, and we were like, Scrappy, no!
Oh, that's too funny.
I know. But and you can't
Yeah.
blame them, right? Because they're just like, this is what I do on trees, like,
Yeah. This one
but
just happens to be inside.
I think overall with like the whole Christmas or any holiday is that holidays are like a very human thing, right? Like the dogs don't know any better. They don't know what
No.
Christmas Day is. So we humanize everything and including like our pets. So that's like another thing. Like I think you'd mentioned Vero is like the photos and we want to get cute little outfits for them and we want to put the
Hmm.
reindeer antlers on them because it looks cute for the family photo and like all this sort of stuff. But when like when you add the whole holiday period together with like all these like smells and people and the doorbell ringing for delivered packages or the people coming in and out of your house because you're having a party and all of these things together, it can be very like overwhelming for them. So it's sort of like trying to remember those things, but yeah, like you can't get mad at them, right? Like here we brought a tree into the
No.
house and I was kind of wondering like how's he going to react to this tree, and I was like, oh, he's going to pee on it. Yep, just as I had thought.
Oh, that's funny.
But you're right. Like
Yeah.
even moving furniture can be like a big ordeal for pets. So
Yeah.
yeah, the holidays are, you got like all this weird stuff around the house. Um, while we're talking about trees, though, uh, just to put this out there for new dog owners, or maybe not new dog owners, it took me a couple of years to figure this one out. I didn't put the breakables at the bottom of the tree or at dog level because they walk past it, they run past it. Like our tree right now is like in our front window, like at the front of the house in our front living room, where the dogs go to watch all the people walk by and all the other dogs that go to the park and stuff. And of course, like they bark or they get excited if they see someone even approaching the house. So like the tails are wagging, so we would come home every day to like, smashed ornaments on the floor. And I was like, all right, guys, no more breakables at the bottom.
At
Like
the bottom.
it's only like the paper and stuffy sort of things too. And I was expecting
Yeah.
kind of like
Wake up.
wigs for some thievery of the stuffies, but so far so good, knock on wood.
Oh, that's too funny. It's like putting stuff on the coffee table.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Hmm. Speaking of trees, apparently some of the pine needles can be toxic. And I also read if you have a real tree and it's in water, some of the sap or when it goes into the water can become toxic. And if the dogs drink out of that, it's not
uh
good.
I did not even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a question for you. And I feel like this is like a 50-50 with people because I do ask people like every year and it's pretty much a 50-50 response. But do you buy your dog Christmas gifts?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
not every year?
Not every year. Because then I feel like you get to a point where they don't need anything.
Well,
And
exactly.
they don't know.
Well, what kind of stuff did you get for Wiggum?
I'd get like his favorites were stuffed toys. So I just get him a new stuffed toy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I do, like there was some years and I can't remember which dogs it was, and I don't know if it was like a whole kid thing or not, but I've never been a believer in the like wrapping a gift like for your dog under the tree. But some people do. They do.
Yeah.
They're definitely out there. But I'd usually just get like a bag of their favorite treats or something like that. But
Mm.
what I've switched to doing instead is, because there's all these people in our house for like a big dinner and stuff, like on, obviously this year will be different, but while we're sitting down, that's like an extra distraction for them. So again, you're out of your normal routine. My dogs know to go and sit on their beds while we're eating, but when there's all these people in the house, and especially my dad, who's a very excitable like person for them, they're not listening as much. So what I do is I go out and get them like a really big treat. Like I don't get my dogs bones or anything like that ever, like usually during the normal times. But for Christmas Eve when we're sitting down to have our dinner, I might get them like a bone of some kind or a chewy treat that takes time for them to eat.
Yeah.
And I give it to them when we sit down to dinner so that they're focused on something else. They're having a treat too. They have their own doggy treat that they're preoccupied with while we eat dinner. So
That's a good
everybody's
idea.
happy in their space
Yeah.
where they're supposed to be and not coming to the table.
And it's important for them to have this safe space that they
Yes.
can just go to if they get overwhelmed, if it's too loud, they're just tired of people, children. And it's important to tell your guests, like, if the dog is in his crate, like went to his crate alone or just on his bed, like just like he's just trying to relax.
Yeah.
So do not bother. I know Wiggum would always go to his crate.
Yes.
It's like he got tired of us. He's just like, bye
He does.
bye.
And bye. I'm going to my
Bye.
room. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so different every year, right? And you get people who visit from like all over the place, and like again, my dogs are used to there being a lot of people around. Like we have big families and our family comes to visit um like pretty regularly, like around the year normally. But then you get people that they're not used to seeing. So like I had a cousin once come with his two young children and they love dogs, and again, my dogs are very patient and they're very good with children. But again, when you mix it in with everything else, like surrounding the holiday, it's a little too much like stimulus, like overload. So I can remember his kids coming and they weren't being like the typical children that go up and pull on their ears and their tails or their paws and or any of that. Like they were so gentle, and even then Becky did the Elvis Presley. She lifted the lip.
Ooh.
She was like leave me alone. And again,
Yeah,
like their space, we don't have crates anymore. Like their space is their dog bed, which is like in our living room where we convene to hang out. So,
right.
be respectful. Like I just, it was a good thing that I was watching and could catch that. I always watch children around my dogs, and the holidays is a good time to be like hyper focused on that. But I remember being like, you're being so good with Becky, you're being so patient, but there's been a lot of people and a lot of stuff going on. So sometimes
Yes.
she just loses her patience. So would it be okay if we just leave her alone and we can come back and say hi later when maybe she's more in the mood for it? And she's not a mean dog, but again, a lot of dog bites I think happen over the holidays. I
I could see
remember
that.
I remember seeing
There's
that
just so
somewhere.
many people, and this is like we're talking about dogs that are good with strangers. There's some dogs that are not as good with strangers. Like Wiggum, like he just kind of went off and did his own thing when there was like
Hmm.
a crowd of people at my parents'. He would just go to his crate or just lie down in the corner, but he was like super patient. Like he just let anybody do whatever they wanted to him. But then
Hmm.
there's dogs that are not good with strangers, and sometimes people don't know how to interact with
Hmm.
dogs, and that can just set them off,
Yeah.
especially if there's a lot of people or children that, like you said, like are a little bit rougher.
Yes.
Some children can be.
or
So,
you're preoccupied and you're not watching them, so kids are like going to
mm-hmm,
town on your dogs doing all the horrible things that they hate. And I just googled it because I remember hearing that, but I wasn't sure if it's true. But literally, if you google dog bites holidays, like all the things that come up are why dog bites happen more often during the holidays than any other times. Another one, it says dog bites are very common occurrence during the holidays. One key reason is that everyone, including your dog, is stressed. So that's the other thing too. Like the holidays can be stressful for people, right? And dogs pick up on that. You're
mm-hmm.
shopping, you're cleaning, you're trying to get everything ready, and it's like that sort of like race to the finish, like of Christmas Day, and
Yeah. And their
you're like,
routine is off.
yeah,
Like they
exactly.
might not be getting that walk that they usually get in the morning
Oh,
on
yes,
Christmas Day.
that too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're one of those people that plays like annoying Christmas music from like November like 1st on.
That would
No
make a
judgment.
dog angry. If I was a dog, that would make me angry.
No judgment, no jugement.
No.
This is like a total like side note, but it's a good example of how like dogs have like emotional responses to things that are unusual. My husband, a few weeks ago, I was at work on the weekend and the car was like super muddy from wherever they were, and they were like, "Oh, we should get a car wash." And it was coming back from the dog park. So they were like, "Oh my goodness, this is going to be hilarious." Like watching Gibbon go through a car wash, and I'd never even thought of that before. And he was like freaked out, not like
Oh.
scared, like hovering, whimpering or whining, but he was just like they they drove in, and as soon as like the big sponges come and start hitting the car and stuff like that, he was just like, "What the heck is that?" Like he was like very like darty and like looking around and like barking at the soap when it started to like spray the car. And like they said it was like very entertaining to watch, like, but again,
Oh,
like just like on super high alert, right? So
yeah.
you're going to get behaviors that you don't normally see, like with your doggo. So I just thought I'd use that as an example.
Yeah. Here's another question. How do you feel about Santa pics?
Yes. So I've only ever taken one.
The favorite one?
No, it was as a joke because it was with Scrappy, Officer Scraps, our first dog. I remember you. I, I don't know if you guys remember, but I would told the story about when we first got a dog, and my father grew up on a farm most of his life. And so when we got a dog for our home, he was like super disgusted by it. He's like, dogs are for farms and like they're not meant to be in the city and it's disgusting. And like, what are you like, what's this poor dog gonna do? And like, and he like yelled at us and was like, well, you can't like bring him to the cot, like he can't come inside if you bring him to the cottage and like all this stuff. And then fast forward like literally not even like half a
That's
year,
changed.
and my dad's like tucking them in like at the cottage, like on the couch with their own personalized like blankets. So him and Scrappy like developed this relationship, like a deep bonded relationship together within the first year that we had Scraps. So as a joke, like for Scrappy's first Christmas, they used to do it. I'm not sure where they do it now, and especially this year I'm not sure what they're doing, if they are at all. But the Ottawa Humane Society would go around to the different malls on different dates, and that you could go and get a photo taken with Santa, and the proceeds went to the Ottawa Humane Society. So I was driving past a mall in our neighborhood and saw the sign that they were coming for the Santa pics, and I was like, I am so getting one for my dad. Like this is gonna be hilarious. Like this is like the beginning of like
Oh,
making the bond even stronger. So we got a photo done with Scraps and gave it to my dad, and it was like the laughing stock of like Christmas. It was like an
oh, that's
excellent. It
cute.
played out exactly how I wanted it to. But
I've
did you
never
ever?
been.
No.
No, I've never been.
Oh wow. Are you going to with
Mm-mm.
the new doggo?
I don't know. I
It's
feel
a
like the new doggo is already spoiled.
oh yeah. Oh, your new
Yeah.
doggo's gonna be spoiled, all right. You're gonna be like
Yes.
my dad, like singing him lullabies and tucking him in at night. This personalized blanket.
Ooh, I told you this, but I purchased a pet cube.
Oh yes.
Yay. Yes.
What is the pet cube again? It's like the Furbo, right?
It's like the Furbo. I think there's features on it that I prefer. So there's a camera which you
Yeah.
can see your pet. There's a two-way so you can talk to your pet and you can also hear your pet. I don't think I will use that feature, like the talking to your pet part,
Mm-hmm.
unless like he's ripping the sofa apart or something. But
Yes.
and you can throw treats.
Oh
It's like a
yes.
treat dispenser.
Yeah. Does it throw it at them, or does it like dispense out of like a little thing in the bottom that they eat like out of a dish?
No, it throws it. And
What?
on your app, there's like a little bone and
Yeah.
you can decide like how far it goes. I mean, there's
N-
a limit,
Yeah.
but you can decide like where it goes.
That's amazing. I hope you can take a video of that. You're
Oh,
gonna have, oh
definitely.
yeah, you're
You
going to
can
have to.
record. You can record for 3 days at a time.
What?
Hmm.
Oh my
Or it
God.
saves the video for 3 days. And then
Yeah.
but I think you have to buy a plan for it if you want to do
Oh,
that. But I think it's cheap.
oh, is it?
Yeah. I think it's
Because,
like $50 a year,
oh, yeah,
maybe.
that's not bad.
I think.
Because
I have to check again, but
even the Google Nest Cam, I forget how much, it's a monthly subscription and it's
mm,
definitely more than $50 a year. But, anyways, I can't wait to see that thing in use and see
yes.
the videos of it.
I
But,
can't wait to get it.
I know. Um, but getting back to the Santa pics, on a side note, if you're planning to do that, again, I would make sure that your dog is like very well leash trained and socialized to all the different noises and being in an environment like a mall or wherever they're doing the Santa pics. You know, if you can find an outdoor one, like great. But you're gonna have a hard time getting them to focus and smile
Yeah.
for the
There's going to be other
camera.
dogs there too.
Yeah, I can remember like it was really brutal because like when we had Scraps, our first dog, like I said, we weren't as knowledgeable about the training. Like he came like pretty well behaved, and we just sort of meshed, and his behaviors were his behaviors, and we never really addressed them or knew how to work on them. Not that he was a badly behaved dog by any means, but I can remember it being like him being like out of sorts going into the mall and then trying to get him to face the camera like took quite a little bit. So like if you plan on being that family that wants the dog in every single family photo, you're going to want to do some leash work. You're going to want to do some socialization and I would take them for like a walk or do a little bit of like training in the morning of that you're planning to do that, so that they're not so tired that they're not going to be able to execute what you want them to do for the photo, but that they're focused, like already in
Yeah.
the zone when you're going to do that, because it's a struggle, folks, especially if you have kids. Getting kids and dogs, actually, I think I try to get a photo of my children on front of our decorated tree every year, and then I try to get a photo of the dogs on front of the decorated tree every year with the deer antlers on, which I've decided to give up this year. I'm not going to make them put stuff on anymore, because again, it's a me thing and not a them thing. But last year I tried to get one of the kids and the dogs together in front of the Christmas tree, and although I did get it, it was a real struggle. And I think when I posted it on my Facebook page, I think I said I managed to get um, the
Mm.
photo, but it was a struggle for both species. And people found that funny,
Oh,
but
that's funny.
funny but true. So yeah, some things to think about for the Santa photos.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I was looking up, just as we've discussed the pet industry many a time, there are so many things that you can get your dog that are holiday inspired, from clothing to the ears to the bandanas to all of it.
To full costumes.
Yep, full on costumes, reindeer costumes, toques, leashes, all of that. There's so many things. And one thing that I find is trending that I don't think ever even existed in the past when I had my previous dogos is the pet advent calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen these?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them a lot on Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't like, I haven't been in a pet store recently, so I'm not sure if they're selling them at the big ones like PetSmart and stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
don't know because I haven't seen them like in real life.
But if you find them at like a Walmart or something like that, I would read and make sure you know what treats are inside that you're giving them.
Yeah.
Or if you're, I have n- never done an advent calendar for my pets, but if if you plan on doing so, you might want to consider making your own and getting your own treats to put in each, you know what I mean? Like do a homemade
Yeah, I
calendar,
agree with that.
cuz
I did find one on Amazon. Um, Trader Joe's Dog Advent Calendar. And the only two ingredients, apparently, is Atlantic salmon and sweet potato.
oh, that's pretty good.
So that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just know what you're buying, because there's some cheap ones out there, and then they put like the rawhide and the gross like food colored like stuff
Ugh.
in. Like I would just be careful of the like Walmarty ones. No offense to Walmart, but we know you're not putting quality treats in your dog advent
Yeah.
calendars. Walmart has its time and its place for for items, but I don't
Yes.
think pet food or treats is one of them, unfortunately.
Nope.
Um, Another way to involve pets in the holiday in a very like benign sort of way to them is to get them tree decorations. So that was something that I got from, I think, parents and in-laws, parent in-laws. Was our dogs each have a, and it's a nice way to remember your pet too. Like we still have Scrappy's first Christmas decoration
Oh,
that,
that's so cute.
yes, that we hang every year. So it's a good way to remember them as well.
Yeah. Oh.
I know, I know. A little aw, a little aw
Oh,
moment. Aw,
very cute.
very cute.
Very
Um,
cute.
the other thing to keep in mind too, again, like I said, it's a very human holiday. We like to put the candles out. We like to
Oh.
put get the incense going on our different decorations and stuff like that. Essential oil diffusers to smell like Christmas trees or cinnamon or all that, and just be aware of how sensitive the dogs are to those scents.
Yes.
Sensitive. If I were to spell that, I would spell it
SCEN.
SCENT. Sensitive.
Sensitive.
So again, if you, it's one thing if you're like baking and stuff like that. But like the candles and stuff like that can be a bit much for the
Yeah,
poor
the
little, the
artificial
poor little
scents.
snoots.
And
The
another
poor.
thing to watch for, you're getting visitors in your home. The door is going to be opening and closing a lot. So
Mm,
if you have a door
a door dasher.
dasher,
Hmm.
uh, just to be mindful of that and be careful.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want on Christmas.
Oh my God.
It's a full-on search
A door
on
dasher. That's like
Christmas
what.
Day.
That's like one of the
They
reindeer
call
names
him,
too.
it's a reindeer name.
Dasher. Dasher, no.
Come back.
Oh my goodness. Dasher, no.
Dasher, no.
That would be a good dog name though. Dasher.
That would be. I like it.
Oh, okay. I would like to say something about pets and the holidays too. Holidays can be a good time to think it's a good idea to purchase a pet for a
Oh,
loved
yeah.
one. And I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but I will tell it again and again and again. There was one year where Disney released 101 Dalmatians right before Christmas. And guess what was the Christmas gift of choice that year? Dalmatians. You couldn't get your hand
Oh,
on one. And guess which was what was surrendered to the all the animal shelters afterwards? Dalmatians,
Dalmatians.
because they are not necessarily the pet that is perfect for your home. So,
No. And even if it is the pet that's perfect, even if you are getting like the perfect breed, it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility.
mhm.
It's not just feed and take out and pee and poop and feed and sleep and feed again and sleep and poop and pee.
And
There's a
train
lot
and
of
train.
training, a lot of patience.
Buying of food, they're costly. So if you're planning
Hmm.
on getting a gift, getting them as a gift for someone, I would say be 100% sure that this person is ready to receive.
Yes, I am ready to receive.
You are ready to receive
I am ready to receive.
your post holiday doggy.
Hmm.
Another thing that I want to mention too is all the music and stuff, like just as like we're talking about the fun stuff all around pets during Christmas. My husband's uncle is a little bit developmentally delayed, and he loves music and he loves buying different CDs. And this one time we were going over for dinner before the holidays to my in-laws, and he had purchased the Jingle Cats CD.
I love it.
And I noticed that he had it like in his collection, and I said, "Oh, Uncle Mark, do you have the Jingle Cat CD?" He's like, "Yeah, do you want to listen to it?" And I was like, "Yes." And my in-laws were like, "No." And we listened to the whole thing, folks, the whole thing, and
Ooh,
I found it entertaining. People laughed at, like, the first 30 seconds of the song, maybe even 30 seconds is exaggerating, and then they were ready to hit stop. But no, we played every single song on that Jingle Cat CD. And I believe that there is a Jingle Dogs. So keep your eyes peeled, folks, for Jingle Dogs.
so is
And
it
it,
just dogs barking?
yep, barking the Christmas music, like "Bow, bow, 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 bow." Like the cats one was hilarious. It was like meow 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 meow. Like they do them in like different pitches and stuff to like make it match the music, and it makes me laugh like so hard. I find it funny. I was able to tolerate the Jingle Cats episode, not
Oh,
episode, but whole
Christmas
thing.
Unleashed. Jingle dogs.
Ah, you got it.
Unleashed. Haha.
That that's clever. It's a clever play on words.
Guess what I'm listening to on Christmas Day? Just kidding. Maybe just a little bit. I'll add that to my Amazon cart.
Do it. Do it. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, there's lots of cute little things. Like I'm looking up dog clothing and stuff like that, and like the reindeer and the Santa hat seems to be a big hit for the doggos for Christmas.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, I purchased reindeer antlers, I think, from the dollar store to put on my dogs, and we'll have to post them on Fluff Stuff for this episode.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cute. But again, if your dog is not used to wearing clothing or putting things like on their head like toques or anything like that, again, you're going to be stressing them out during this stressful time of year
Yeah.
for them and possibly you. So be mindful of that. But, these days there seems to be like a lot of people dressing their dogs and stuff like that. So maybe they're ready
Yeah.
for it.
It's like Halloween.
Yeah. Halloween, I think, is worse because people are wearing like masks and stuff like that, and it really creeps them out.
Yeah.
I remember one Halloween putting on this. We have this like old lady mask, and I remember I put it on and came around the corner, and Gibbs got real freaked out.
Oh.
A real freaked out. Some people leave for the holidays and they travel for the holidays, and you're going to family members' homes, um, in different parts of the city, sometimes in another country, and maybe to a family's members home where dogs are not welcome. So you want to start thinking about kennels. And again, like I mentioned this before, if you're looking at kenneling your dog somewhere, be knowledgeable about where you're kenneling them and what the rules are there, because you don't want to find out at the last minute that, oh crap, I didn't get their vaccine for, or their rabies is due. So be mindful of your dog's shots and what the requirements are to be kenneling them somewhere. And again, it's a busy time of year, so think well in
Yes.
advance and do your bookings well in advance. And this was something that I wanted to mention earlier to you, but I'm glad I just remembered. The same goes for grooming. Everybody wants their pets to be beautiful and not
Mm-hmm.
doggo smelling, like when it comes to all the family coming over or having guests in your home. So I would say during your preparations, like in a world where, and coming from a dog's perspective here, like as we do on this show, try to remember how overwhelming all of these changes and different things are for your dog. So I would say try to maintain somewhat of a routine with your dog during the holidays, but also as you're managing stuff, and as I was saying more specifically towards the grooming, make some time before your get together, like whether it be a day before or a couple of days before, where you could personally groom them at home. Like make some time to do it yourself, but don't try to rush through it like with everything else, because again, it's like they sense your stress and like all of that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
try to spend quality time with them. And depending on whether your dog's the one that loves to sit in the bathtub and just loves it, or if it's like a stressful like ordeal for them, keep that in mind for these poor little fur babies. Or if you're taking them to a salon, again, everybody's taking them to be groomed. So call
Mm-hmm.
ahead, find a groomer that that
Yes.
they know, and try to get your appointments booked on time.
And speaking of traveling to families' houses for the holidays, sometimes, and like we said, when you're doing stuff outside of the dog's routine, it can be very stressful. And then again, you're going to somebody else's house. There's going to be a lot of people there, children, food, things around the house maybe that your dog is not used to. Maybe consider leaving your dog at home for that time if you're just
Mhm.
going for dinner for
Mhm.
a few hours.
Mhm.
Spare him the stress and the big ordeal of the holidays.
Yes, and again, if that's like the only time that you ever bring your dog somewhere else to stay for a night or for a
Hmm.
period of time, realize that there's always that adjustment period, right? It's just like we dog sit for our friends constantly, and they're the first night they may miss their owners or miss their home or miss just be out of sorts because they're like, where's my bed? Where do I rest? Where am I allowed to go, because it's
Yeah.
different rules in different houses, right? So it's
And that's
very
another
stressful.
thing, like bring your dog's bed or a couple of
Yes,
toys
exactly.
so that they're familiar at least with that.
Yeah. It's like, depending on how big your dog is, it could be like a lot of stuff you're bringing with you, but the bed is
Yeah.
very well worth it because,
Yeah.
especially like for my dogs as an example, um, they I would bring a bed with them because they know the command place, and place means you go and lay there until I say it's okay for you to come off. So again, if their place is not always a necessarily um, a place of punishment for them. It's a place where they have to go, and they know that all their only job is to sit there, like, or to lay there until they hear you say whatever your release word is. So it's comforting to them because they're like, okay, I don't have to think, I don't have to worry,
Yeah.
I'm not stressed, and they usually just fall asleep, especially if they are in a new area or that kind of thing. So I'm a huge advocate for the place command. I was at my sister's tonight working with Sire, the corgi, on the
Ooh.
place command, and he's
And
getting there. He's doing very well.
the corgi whisperer.
The corgi whisper. Oh yeah, the corgi kai training.
Corgi
Corgi
Kai.
kai. Corgi kai. I showed no mercy and accepted no defeat, but he stared me down tonight. But guess who won? Me. Corgi kai. Corgi kai.
Corgi Kai. Heidi Kai.
So yes to the place command, and yes to bringing some of your dog's things with them so that they are familiar, or at least have some familiar things in an unfamiliar environment. And
Is this a wrap on our holiday episode?
I think it is. So meowy Chris roof. Yeah, that's a little awkward, but
Meowy Christmas.
to you and all of your fur babies, and
Yes, and
happy
stay
holidays
safe.
and happy new year from the Let's Boop Snoots crew.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.